Well, hello again, ladies and gentlemen. This is your friend Noe, and I am back with We Need to Save Our Children. Or for those on Zoxy, Wake Up America, Save Our Children, Part 3. Tonight, well, tell you what, before I get going into tonight's explanation of how the left has lost control, I just wanted to say, looking through the Bible the other day, I realized something. God says it's okay to be white. It's okay to be conservative and Christian. It's okay. Don't you agree, Oprah? Well, I'm glad to see she agreed. I would hate to see if somebody like Oprah or the lunatics on The View would disagree. But now, more pressing matters at hand, okay? How has the left, the Democrats, the progressives, many of the libertarians, and many of the Republicans as well. We have many wolves in sheep's clothing in our government. The deep state, the Illuminati, the Masons, all your lodges, they're all one big entity. And they're not there for the well-being of America. They are there for the indoctrination. Here, 10, 15 years ago, well, actually more than that, back into the time of Tricky Willie, little Bill Clinton. He's the one that turned eating ain't cheating into, well, I didn't have sex with her. We only had oral sex. And the children and the youth accepted that. And sadly, well, so did many adults. America has lost its first love, which should be Jesus Christ. There's no morals. They have created, as I will show you in some clips tonight and some inserts and different things floating around the web right within the past couple weeks. This is where it's come to. These kids are some unruly, belligerent, vile, right on the verge of violence. They're so triggered. And I will show you how the very teachers who have the influence over these children are the orchestrators of everything you see. It's being pushed in the high schools, in the colleges, in the universities. I showed you in part 1 and part 2. They use social media to give the children the illusion of an education when they cannot even sign their name. Sign your name and they print it out. How long before these children are leaving their mark? And it won't be an X. Be their thumbprint or fingerprint or facial recognition. They're giving themselves into it, but they don't have what Adolf Hitler had. Adolf Hitler, through his dictatorship, he seized the youth of Germany. They are using shaming, thuggery, bullying, but it's only acceptable when they are the ones doing it. And I will show you in these clips tonight. But I will warn you here, fair warning. One does have profanity. The other two, they're very hard on the ears to listen to. But it proves who's orchestrating it and who's playing out the violence and the intimidation and the bullying.
It's time to stand up to the left. Thank you. You make that choice. And you can just see how crazy this is, and I think it's time to get liberal.
He should go and get himself fixed so he won't make anybody.
I mean, now I'm afraid because I've gotten death threats.
If you are afraid, little baby, you go the fuck home.
A lot of students
If you are
are all.
Okay, in this first clip we saw what? We came to this first Hitler Youth because Hitler used both, the boys and the girls. It didn't matter. He found uses for both. Now, this girl, she's just screaming, yelling that this is going to silence this guy. It's going to destroy their recording and no one's going to listen to this. But this is the intimidation. This is the bullying. Then we come to this man in the back. See him standing there, the thing around his neck? He's one of the, most likely he's a teacher. There's a lot of high schoolers here mixed in with the feminist activists that are demanding my body, my choice, my body, my choice. Well, what about the choice of the child? Well, the child's a nothing till he's born. Well, you know, that's a lie. And they truly believe this lie. But yet the rest of us, we're all lying when we bring them the facts. So this is how strong indoctrination truly is. Then we come to this lady. For the people, the thousands of people, because this stuff is, it doesn't just go on YouTube, it goes in many, 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 many other platforms. If you didn't quite hear what she said he needs to go get fixed so he can't have any more children. He's a child himself. And I would say he doesn't even have child number one. But this is what I say of, where do these people come from? They came from the 70s, where they were just floating through life on every drug they could get their hands on. They were the 1960s and 70s hippies, is what they were called. They were not good for anything. But now look what they're doing. Look what they're doing to the youth. Abort them children. They're unwanted. But the children have no morals. And this guy, here he is. See, he's standing right there watching what is playing out here. And we'll get to it in another clip of who this lady is. And you'll hear from her. So let's hear it in her words, not mine.
little baby's lying. He's scared of us, everyone. He's lying, saying he's scared of us. But he could go back home, but he doesn't. But he's so terrified. I'm such a scary person. You're an incel and you can't get laid.
So there you have it, in her own words. Bullying, intimidating, mocking. Clearly the only adult in the room, which was a high school student. See, you have to remember the way the law reads and the way the statutes are for all public school events or field trips. It's done with teachers, the students, chaperones, and they're bused because I wouldn't torture you with all the whole thing. If you want to watch it, you'll see that they're not up in the front. They're kind of like a group in the back of the whole thing going on. Now, that's ridiculous. She's mocking him, and I believe he's getting death threats by some of these, what I would call today, of the modern day Hitler Youth. Or I guess we should probably rename it to the modern day Democrat Youth, because that's all they are. Lenin called them useful idiots. They mocked them, they laughed at them, and 60,000 of them were put to death in the public square and declared enemies of the state because they thought they could hold a coup with Lenin and overthrow Stalin. You know, you're getting rid of one Satanistic communist for another Satanistic communist. But there's the power of the mind, that they're using our schools and our money to destroy our own children. Wake up, America. Wake up and smell the coffee. Coffee's pretty good. I drink a lot of it. But we don't have much time left. Now, fair warning, this next clip, there is some profanity, but you will see why the death threats onto this boy were serious. But you'll see what had to take place.
You are a fucking coward! Why don't those people matter to you? Why don't those people matter to you?
Everyone matters to me.
Then why don't those 0.875 people matter to you?
It doesn't.
No.
Stop, have a conversation. Don't get everyone's face.
I understand that you're
So
angry.
why
It's
don't those
great
people
that you're getting
matter?
politically active, and that's great. But I mean, people like you and your cause, you ruined Brett Kavanaugh and his family. Push a political agenda.
I don't
with
give a
parents.
shit about Brett Kavanaugh or his
You
family.
ruined his family. I mean, in abortion, 12-year-olds can get abortions in public schools and without parental consent. That's happening in different states. In Virginia, you can have a baby, they put it on a table, and they ask the parents if you want this to live or die. That's something that we're dealing with. And in New Jersey, New York, third trimester abortion.
That's
happening in
great.
different.
So, in your conscious mind, would you believe death threats when the guy, the little kid you see on the left, shaved head, very angry, right up in his face? You could see, if given the chance, he'd be pounding that righteous boy right into the ground. But you see, gladly, there are some security there. There always is these days, because the left is that unhinged. If the life of an unborn child means nothing to them, you can guarantee that your life means nothing to them. They want you silenced. They want you destroyed. You are to be no job, no home. You die. Would you hurry up and die? And that's no lie. This is where we're at today. If that security man was not around, no, you get out of his face. But you see, then he stepped right back and he listened. And what do you mean, 12-year-old? If you heard it, and you heard it correctly, the polite teenager was telling him right now, they have the right for a 12-year-old to have an abortion in the school without the parents' consent. What? And that's true. Many of these schools have been pushing this, and it's swept under the rug. This is very telling, ladies and gentlemen. How much longer is God gonna tolerate this mass murder, glorified mass murder, and all of these wicked people? We're losing more and more good, righteous people every day. They don't want to hear the truth anymore. They want to be spoon-fed the fodder from the mainstream media and the talking heads and its politics, and sadly they just don't get it. It's not that it'll take time to convince them. I've known people that we've been speaking this stuff to for 7 years, and they still don't get it. They don't understand it. I read the Bible and understood it clearly. The book of Revelation tells this out in all of its horror, and you're seeing it play out. In the days of Noah, God looked upon the earth and saw that it was wicked, for there were beasts in these days. There were giants, There were giants in these days, both of man and beast. And God chose one man to save it all, Noah. God chose one man to save Israel from Egypt. God chose one man to save Israel from the Philistines. And God used his own son to save our wretched, sinful souls. It's getting harder and harder to convince people these days of that fact. Christ will return, and the wicked will be judged. All roads do lead to God. Oh, yes, they do. But as Daniel said in his prophecy, for all shall rise in the end, some to everlasting life, and others to everlasting contempt. So are you a sheep or a goat? Are you willing to be shepherded by Jesus Christ? Many are not. Because what happens when things aren't moving fast enough? You're not getting enough false flags. Let's see what happens in a school system when a teacher takes it upon himself to try to create a false flag against the students. Okay, what we see here is a high school teacher come walking out into the hallway. It's a couple minutes before 8. He looks down, boom, drops something in the corner, walks back into the other hallway. A couple minutes later, reappears. The student gotta make sure the student didn't see anything, whatever it is that he dropped. And I did shorten this clip quite a lot. See, now he's watching it, and he's watching that student disappear. Well, now he's calling. Oh, now he takes a picture of it with his cell phone. And here comes another school employee. I bet you by now you're really wondering what it is that this teacher did. Well, when you lose control of the children that you thought you were turning into your paramilitary organization or group, and they're just not doing things the way they're supposed to do them. So, well, that's okay. We're gonna drop live 9mm shells. When the cops arrived, they went in, opened up the footage, and that's what they found. He was arrested. And of course, it's covered up. But when they searched his car, they did find 102 rounds of 20 gauge shotgun shells and some other ammo. And that's all they said, some other ammo. And an expired concealed carry permit from Connecticut. When he went to court, he tells the judge, and his defense is he did it because we need metal detectors. Are you understanding this? This is one incident. How much of this goes on around the country that's not getting released and not getting picked up by sources that will show the public what's going on? Muslims will wait as long as they want. As they pump out 20, 30, 40 kids to one father, our youth are aborting them. Our youth are being set up. Our youth are being indoctrinated right into unruly mobs that, I'm sorry, I hear it now. You know how sad it is when you sit here, as I do, because of my lung disease, and I listen to the police scanner and the fire rescue, and I listen to what's going on. And when I hear the county sheriff deputies being called to the middle school and the elementary school for unruly kids. My oldest son tells me there's a big movement starting up now where they've said F you to all authority. See, the school system turned these kids against the parents. The parents have no authority over you. And then the kids turned on them. If my parents have no authority and you're just an adult, then you have no authority over me. Why else would the deep state established media and attack hounds be going after a 14-year-old YouTuber? 14 years old. Really? Are you serious? This is what they're doing. So that's about it for this one. I want to say, think about all three that I have up here now with this one. Share them. Subscribe to these on Zoxy or on YouTube. I don't bite. I have a wide array of different things on there about many different topics, but a lot of it is based on where we are at today and how the Bible has already foretold it. We don't need to look for one person, but Jesus Christ, because he's already paid our price. And we must find him, come to him, bow down on humbled knee. Be willing to listen. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is No Way